a delicious looking flat. Hey folks, Paul here. Today we're going to make Chud's tallow fried chicken wings, but we're going to do them in the oven. So this is really a combination of Chud's barbecue's tallow fried chicken wing recipe and Kenji's oven fried chicken wings. So Kenji's got a couple of tricks that helps really get a good crispy wing out of the oven, and I've added a few extra things of my own to that, including using tallow just like Chud does. So the goal here is to get wings that are almost as good as what you can get out of frying them in tallow, but cooking them in the oven, which is much easier, way less mess, and also uses a lot less tallow. Let's go into the kitchen. In order to get the wings nice and crispy in the oven, we first of all need to make sure they're nice and dry. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a dry brine. We're going to add a couple of special ingredients, which I'll show you in a second. And then we're going to leave them in the fridge overnight, uncovered on a rack, to really get dried out. So let's take a look at our ingredients. We have our chicken wings. It's about 1.5 pounds. We have salt, milk powder, baking powder, wondra. Now this is a very specific type of flour. If you can't get wondra, I would use cornstarch or potato starch. I would not use regular flour. And then finally, a little bit of MSG. Totally optional, but it is delicious. So you probably know what the salt and the MSG does. But let's talk about the other 3 ingredients. So the milk powder, it really just adds some proteins, and proteins are what helps empower the Maillard reaction to really brown up and crisp up the chicken wings. Same with the flour. So wondra is a fairly heavily processed flour. It's very small grain, and it is great for coating things that you're going to deep fry or for thickening sauces. And then the baking powder. When baking powder gets wet, it releases gas. In this case, that'll actually happen like inside the skin of the chicken, create little bubbles in the skin of the chicken, which will help them then dry out, but will also help really with surface area and with the browning. And the alkalinity of the baking powder also helps the proteins brown. Now the ratios we use these in is 1 teaspoon of each for every pound of chicken, except for the MSG, we will use 1/2 teaspoon per pound of meat. So there's our wings, and now we will just go in with 1.5 teaspoons of each of these. Then we're just going to give it a good mix. Feel free to use gloves if you don't like chicken hands. The goal is to get a good even coating of the various powders on the wings. You could also use like a big Ziploc bag and just shake. That's about coated. So now we're just going to go ahead and dump them on our tray. And these will go in the fridge, uncovered, and we will see them again tomorrow morning. You can see they're quite dry. Most of the seasonings and powders have sort of dissolved in and coated the skin, and this is exactly what we're looking for. Next, we're taking our beef tallow and we're putting it in a double boiler. Now, you're not actually trying to cook this, right? So you just want hot water in the bottom pan and then a metal mixing bowl on top with 2 tablespoons of tallow, and that should be enough for 1.5 pounds of wings. And then beside that, we have a small sheet pan with a sheet of baking paper. And you can see, while I've been talking, the beef tallow has been melting quite quickly. It doesn't have to be beef tallow. You could use any kind of solid animal fat. Duck fat would be amazing. You could also use a high saturated fat like peanut oil, or just go with that. The wings do have enough fat in them to get crispy, but it helps a little bit to have some extra fat, especially saturated fat, and especially flavorful fat like tallow. Take your chicken wings, use the world's smallest tongs, and then dip them in the tallow. Shake them off a little bit and put them on your sheet pan. The wings are straight out of the fridge, so they're quite cold, and the tallow will actually solidify around the wing and almost create like a waxy coating on the wings. And that's just going to help make sure there's oil on the wings as they start to cook. And then eventually it will cook down onto the bottom of the pan and will kind of act almost like a shallow fryer at the bottom of the pan. You see the wings now have kind of like a shiny, waxy surface to it. That's exactly what we're looking for. I've preheated my oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a convection oven. If you don't have a convection oven, you'll want to use 450 degrees. And we're going to simply put our wings in, close it up, and set a timer for 15 minutes. All right, that is 15 minutes up. You can see we're already starting to see some nice browning on the wings. So we're going to pull them out, we're going to rotate them around, and then we'll stick them back in for another 15 minutes. All right, we're going to rotate them around. So we're going to move the ones from the outside in, and we're also going to flip them all over. We're going to put them in for another 15 minutes and we'll see what they look like. All right, our second 15 minutes is up and they are looking beautiful. So that's great. Here they are and looking delicious. Look at this. Look how brown and crispy this is. All right, you can hear some bubbling noises, and that is because I'm making a sauce. So traditional buffalo sauce is basically equal parts butter and vinegar-based hot sauce. So I'm melting down what is 4 tablespoons of butter right there. I actually have some fermented chili paste. So this is a chili paste I made myself. It's a bunch of smoked chilies that I then rehydrated and then fermented. So we're going to add about a tablespoon of that. So we'll add about a tablespoon of that. We're just going to wait for that to melt down and cook off a little bit. I'm going to add a good squirt of sriracha, and then I'm going to add vinegar in the form of pickle juice. So 1 and 2 tablespoons of pickle juice. Needs more chili. And of course our final step is to combine the two. here we have it. Look at these delicious looking wings. So that's it. That's my chicken wings. Of course, we do have to taste them. Here is a delicious looking flat. Focus on it. There we go. Look at it. Let's go ahead and eat it. I don't know if you can hear the crunching of it, but the skin is perfectly crispy. The meat is tender and delicious. And the sauce is peppery, smoky, vinegary, like perfect. Perfect wing sauce. So that's it. That is our oven fried tallow chicken wings a la Chud's barbecue. Made much simpler for the home cook. Do the old like and subscribe thing. Bye.